So I finally completed Lies of P, and I wanted to give a review of this game based off of a non-Souls player. I'm a person that comes from a shooter game background, then went into survival games, and so this is just going to be a review of like a casual gamer's point of view on this game. I would say that I was so excited when I first started playing this game simply because of the aesthetics, the way it looks, the way that the story is unfolding. I thought it was incredible. And in terms of the story, I think it's one of the better stories that I have experienced in a game. It has multiple endings to it depending on how you play the game. If you tell a bunch of lies throughout the game to the NPCs, you get one ending. And if you make different choices, you get one ending. And if you don't, you get a different ending. So it's really, really, really cool. And even the final bosses that you get are going to be determined, or at least one of them is going to be determined by how you answer right here. I'm not going to spoil the ending right here, but it's great. The story is fantastic. The look of the game, the aesthetic, and the level design of the game is fantastic. I love it. That is the only thing that kept me playing the game, because in my opinion, the boss fights in this game are absolutely awful. Some of them are okay and they're fun. They're all hard, and I was expecting that. When I first started playing, I went in the way I've seen a lot of other Souls players play. They don't use summons, they don't use throwables, they just focus on leveling up their weapon, getting good at the timing of their weapon, learning the boss fight, and just getting good. That is what I started doing, and I got about halfway through the game that way. But every boss fight got more and more and more frustrating, and I started to realize that these boss fights are not about becoming a better player. They're much more about memorizing how to beat each particular boss. And when I say memorizing, it's a really weird thing, because I thought it was kind of like getting better with your weapons and getting better with your reaction times, but what I learned was it's really more about getting better with your internal memory of each boss's delay attacks. I've watched a lot of different videos on this game in terms of like playthroughs, and one consistent complaint I've heard before I even started playing this game was the way that the bosses have these delay attacks that then turn into like these instantaneous hits. Like, it'll hold the sword up for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you have almost no time to react. And when I started playing the game, I started noticing that as I got farther along into some of the bosses, and it did become really frustrating. Then on top of that, you have things like decay, and acid gets on your weapons and you have to sharpen them mid-fight. It's just a lot of things that get in the way of just letting you fight the boss. You have to sharpen your weapon, you have to take different consumables to get rid of delay or acid or overheating, and just all these complications that I know a lot of people will say, well, bro, it's a skill issue. And you can boil skill issue down to anything. I mean, in shooter games, you've got people who learn to be able to play on 400 ping, until they're able to like use it as an advantage. But you cannot tell me that like 400 ping is a feature. Like, it doesn't make a good type of difficulty. And so for me personally, this game has a awful type of difficulty. It has a difficulty wherein it's not just that the boss has, like, to me, a good difficulty is a boss that has like a lot of combos. So you just have like a lot to deal with. A boss that has 3 different movesets is going to be pretty easy to be able to kind of determine what's coming. But a boss that has 10 different movesets is like a lot harder to learn what's coming. And what I find this game does is it will have 3 different movesets or 10 different movesets depending on the boss, but five of those 10 movesets, they look almost identical, and 3 of those movesets have a 2-second delay. One of them has a 1-second delay, and the other ones have a 1.5 to 3-second delay. Like, it's really, really difficult to tell what's coming next. And on top of that, it's really, really difficult to know when to actually dodge or guard, to the point where you can't really do it off of visuals. You have to do it off of like an internal timing. And that's what I sort of realized, that you have to fight the boss enough times, and everybody's going to be different here on how long this takes you to learn it, but you got to fight the boss long enough until you learn that internal timing, and then you're just sort of going off of your internal timing in your head to know when to block or to dodge or whatever. And eventually you'll get it. Like I fought like the Black Rabbit Brotherhood until it was like I would just perfect guard that guy's attack until his weapon broke. Then I would start fighting him. And it was actually fun once you sort of get that figured out. But then all the brothers and sisters jump in and you have to learn them. That fight personally I thought was pretty cool, but a lot of the other fights were just so frustrating. I could not have fun with the game. I actually uninstalled it about halfway through because it was just so frustrating. And then when I came back, I reinstalled it just to get through the story because the story was so good. I wanted to see where it went. And I started just using summons. I lowered the difficulty to the easiest difficulty. I started just, bombing out the bosses with throwables. I just wanted to get through the game, to be completely honest. And I'm really glad I did, but at the same time, that's not the experience I was looking for, I'm going to play probably Lords of the Fallen next and kind of compare how this game feels versus a different game that I have not heard about, these delayed attacks and stuff like that. And so it's just gonna be really interesting to see the difference between these different combat systems and how they feel. But for now, personally, I'm not gonna buy the DLC to this game. I'll probably uninstall this game and never play it again because I feel like the boss fights just ruined the game for me. And maybe I'll play other Souls-likes and feel exactly the same, and I'll just say, I'm not cut out for these games. And that'd be fine. But I think I am cut out for these games because I love the combat. I mean, as you can see, I love swinging big, heavy weapon and learning the movesets. But I don't enjoy the gotcha feeling of these delayed attacks. So that's my opinion of the game, guys. It's a 10 out of 10 game, and I feel like the battles of the boss fights are like a 3 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10.